Nobody saw this coming. A team that couldn't score a goal in 2 games just eliminated one of the most feared programs in World Cup history. Ecuador beat Germany 2-1, and the entire tournament just changed. Let's start with how impossible this looked 48 hours ago. Ecuador had played 39 shots across 2 World Cup games and scored 0 goals. 0. They lost to Ivory Coast. They drew with Curaçao, a country making its World Cup debut, fielding players who work regular jobs off the pitch. The Curaçao goalkeeper, Eloy Room, made 15 saves against Ecuador in a single game. 15. That is the most saves by any goalkeeper in a 90-minute World Cup match in history. Yeah, Ecuador was a team that couldn't finish, couldn't convert, couldn't find the net no matter what they tried. And then they faced Germany, not just any Germany. A Germany that had opened this World Cup by destroying Curaçao 7-1. A Germany that was already through to the knockout round as group winners. A Germany with Manuel Neuer in goal, Leroy Sané on the wing, and 0 reason to lose this game. Ecuador needed a miracle. The math was simple: win or go home. The game started about as badly as it possibly could. 2 minutes in, Germany scored. Leroy Sané side-footed a finish past the Ecuadorian goalkeeper, and the MetLife Stadium went quiet for every fan in yellow. But there was something wrong with that goal. Replays showed German midfielder Alexander Pavlovich had kicked Ecuador's Pedro Vite directly in the face in the build-up. Ecuador's players surrounded the referee. They argued. They begged the VAR to intervene. The VAR watched. The VAR decided to do nothing. The goal stood. Ecuador was down 1-0, 2 minutes into the most important game of their lives against the best team in their group, after a decision that by every reasonable reading of the laws of the game should have disallowed the goal. What happened next is the part nobody will forget. 7 minutes later, Nilson Angulo received the ball in space, took one touch, looked up, and hit a shot from 23 yards out that flew through the legs of a closing defender and curled into the bottom right corner past Manuel Neuer. It was Ecuador's first goal of the entire World Cup, their first goal in over 11 hours of competitive football, and it came against Germany in the 9th minute after being wronged by the referee 2 minutes before. The stadium erupted. The yellow shirts in the stands, and there were tens of thousands of them, Ecuadorians who live in the New York area, who came to MetLife to witness exactly this kind of moment, lost their minds. Then came the 77th minute, a corner kick, a flick-on header from Kevin Rodriguez, and Gonzalo Plata, a 24-year-old forward from Quito, stuck out his foot and poked the ball through the legs of Manuel Neuer, one of the greatest goalkeepers who has ever lived, and into the back of the net. Plata ran to the corner flag. The substitutes stormed the pitch. The coach, Sebastian Beccacetti, who had been booed by his own fans before kickoff, ran into the stands to embrace his family. Ecuador held on for 13 minutes of pure agony, clearing desperate German attempts, throwing their bodies in front of shots, doing everything a team does when they know exactly what is at stake. When the final whistle blew, grown men cried. Members of the Ecuadorian press cheered openly in the press box. The president of Ecuador declared a national holiday. Now here is why every team left in this World Cup needs to pay attention. Because what Ecuador just did was not a fluke. It was a blueprint. Ecuador set up in a disciplined defensive block, suffocated Germany's creative players, denied them space, and then punished them on the counter with pace and precision. They pressed higher in the second half. They outworked a team that had nothing to play for in the most important game of their own World Cup lives. And when the moment came, they took it. The message for every European powerhouse still in this tournament is now impossible to ignore. If you come to this World Cup without hunger, without desperation, without the feeling that everything is on the line, teams like Ecuador will find you, and they will beat you. Now here is where American fans need to lean in. The USMNT faces Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32 on July 1st in Santa Clara. The Americans had a comfortable group stage, top of Group D, 6 points and 2 wins before resting starters against Turkey. They looked controlled. They looked organized. They looked good enough to win their group without breaking a sweat. But Ecuador just proved something about this World Cup that Americans cannot afford to ignore. Comfort is dangerous. Rotating your squad is dangerous. Treating a game as low stakes is dangerous. An eliminated Turkey team beat the United States 3-2 with a last-minute goal just 24 hours ago. If a team with nothing to play for can find that kind of result, what happens when Ecuador, hungry, battle-tested, and now carrying the momentum of one of the biggest upsets of the tournament, faces someone who thinks they already know what comes next? Ecuador is not a team anyone wants to face right now. They have survived the impossible. They have scored against Manuel Neuer. They play with the desperation of a team that has already been told they can't do it, and keeps doing it anyway. The round of 32 starts this weekend. The group stage bubble is gone. Every game from here is elimination football. One loss, and you go home. No second chances, no safety nets. Ecuador should have been on a plane back to Quito tonight. Instead, they're preparing for the knockout round, running on adrenaline, the memory of MetLife Stadium still ringing in their ears, knowing they beat Germany when it mattered most. And somewhere in a film room, the coaching staff of whatever team draws Ecuador next is rewinding that 77th minute goal, frame by frame, trying to figure out how to stop a team that just proved they cannot be stopped when everything is on the line. Had you ever seen a team go from 0 goals in 2 games to beating Germany in the knockout decider and make it look inevitable by the end? And how far do you think Ecuador goes in this World Cup now that they've proven they can beat anyone? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching The World Game, and I'll see you in the next story.